Yo, what's up everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Today I'm just gonna break down and predict Vergil Ortiz versus Israil Madrimov. And I just want to preface by saying that this is one banger of a fight, guys. This is close to perfect matchmaking, in my opinion. One is coming off a defeat from a top 3 fighter, and the other one came out victorious from a gritty fight against Bohachuk. Madrimov obviously fought Bud in a close competitive decision, and Ortiz went life and death with Bohachuk. In my opinion, both Ortiz and Madrimov should bounce back stronger and better than before after their fights. Certainly going 12 rounds with Bud would be valuable experience for Madrimov, no doubt about it. And the same with Ortiz, having the toughest fight of his life after blowing out his opponents is definitely a wake-up call for him that he isn't there just yet, that he still has a lot of work to do. But looking at the tail of the tape, we can see that they're both in their prime. Ortiz is 26 years old, Madrimov is 29. They're both relatively the same size as well, with Ortiz being an inch taller and having about an inch and a half reach advantage, which in my opinion is negligible. Ortiz is currently 22-0 with 21 knockouts, and Madrimov is 10-1 with 7 knockouts. That sole loss, of course, being Terence Crawford. So Ortiz has the experience edge in the pros, but we can't forget the fact that Madrimov was a superb amateur with over 100 fights. And honestly, if we were being real, that fight with Terence Crawford alone is worth around 5 to 10 fights, in my opinion. You know what I mean? I really think those were some invaluable rounds for Madrimov. Playing chess with Bud like that and having that real life experience going back and forth with a grandmaster, the amount of lessons you can take from that is insurmountable. Same thing with Ortiz. That fight with Bohachuk was phenomenal. Lots to learn from that as well. Strengths and weaknesses. Now, one of Ortiz's strengths is his jab. He has a very good jab that he varies. He goes to the head and body with it, and he throws it short, long, quick, powerful, whatever the job calls for. Along with that jab, he got a deadly 1-2 combo and a dangerous right hand in general that if it lands, it can turn anybody's light out at least at 147. He's a great offensive fighter. I feel he has a very good offensive boxing IQ. And man, Ortiz is a proper fighter, right? He's the type that if you land on him, he want to land 3 on you back. He's a good counter puncher. He's got good timing and he's got quick hands. Offensive boxing fundamentals are very good. But in terms of his weaknesses, to me, it's his defense, and the lack of ability to adjust defensively. Talk about the Bohachuk fight. Now, obviously, it's his hardest fight to date. He struggled in that fight, you know what I mean? So I didn't like a lot of things that I saw. Ortiz was very sloppy in the fight. He was inaccurate, and he didn't look nearly as destructive as he normally does. Perhaps it's because of the flawed, sloppy technique. Maybe he couldn't muster up his power because of that. But he just didn't have that zip that he usually has. Perhaps that's why he was also inaccurate. Ring rust, or maybe it's the recent health implications that he's been suffering from. But he just wasn't impressive against Bohachuk, in my opinion. The conditioning wasn't there either. Like, he not gassed out, but he got really tired around after the 8th round, the fight did show that he got true dog in him, but we already kind of knew that because he showed that in the fight against Kavalauskas. He showed that no matter what, he's going to keep going. He's going to keep throwing, and that he is not backing down for nothing. It also showed that he can take punishment, man. Bohachuk landed plenty flush on him, and he did great. He didn't really look wobbled. Now, I will say he did get dropped twice, but I don't really recall him being out of it or being severely hurt. He's in that fight. His balance just wasn't there. Overall, just a questionable performance that night against Bohachuk. Now, I'm going to talk about Madrimov. I made a breakdown video just like this for the fight against Crawford. And when I was studying his game, I actually became a fan. He's fun to watch. He's very awkward. He fights at a slower pace, a pace he controls, where he can outthink his opponent. And he's got a very high boxing IQ. You see the type of fight it was with Crawford. It was a cagey fight. It was a chess match, and he was able to hang in there with Crawford in high-speed chess. Not a lot of people can say that. Madrimov can also crack. You know, he's got concussive power, and he appears to be pretty durable. Bud hit him with good shots in their fight, but he stood 10 toes the whole fight. He didn't go nowhere. So there's that. And he's also a physically well-built human being, man. He is strong down there at 154. He isn't the biggest, but I reckon he's one of the strongest in that weight class for sure. Now, one thing I love about Madrimov is his feint game. He feints so much, and he feints well, and he's so awkward. I personally love it. I love awkward fighters. They're so entertaining to watch. They're crafty, creative, and I think what makes them entertaining is that they take risks. One of Madrimov's risky moves is that gazelle punch. He would leap at his opponent with a hook. I mean, don't get me wrong, if he gets caught, he goes straight to bed. But if he lands it, it could be devastating. You know what I mean? But his weaknesses, I'd say that's defense as well. I think his defense is a little tighter than Ortiz, a bit neater, but he does get touched up, you know. Like Vergil, he's also sloppy at times and inaccurate. But the difference is I really only saw Vergil be sloppy and inaccurate in that fight against Bohachuk. I've seen Madrimov sloppy in multiple fights. So I think that's just him. He's a bit of a messy worker, you know what I mean? Especially inside. He's not a very good inside fighter either. Really think of when it comes to the strengths and weaknesses. So who do I got winning this fight? Such a tough fight, guys. Such a tough fight. I love it. I love 50-50 fights like these. But if I'm forced to pick a winner, I'm going to give the slightest edge to Israil Madrimov. The slightest edge, guys. I think that his feints and his awkward style is hard to replicate. So finding someone who can emulate Madrimov's style is going to be very difficult for Ortiz's camp. I think it's going to be hard for Ortiz to time Madrimov. I think Madrimov's boxing IQ is higher than Vergil's, and I think he's more durable than Vergil at 154. I also think his defense, as I said earlier, is just better. You know, I think he's more active on defense. He isn't as stationary. He keeps his head away from the center line more. Ortiz offensively is better, I will say that. And I think Ortiz can definitely win by outworking Madrimov, you know, pumping that jab out there and making Madrimov feel his power with the right hand. I feel Ortiz is definitely capable of this. And if he can somehow catch Madrimov taking risks, I think he can hurt Madrimov. But I just feel with all the feints and the irregular shots from out of nowhere, from awkward angles, I think Madrimov will be able to slow down the fight to his ideal pace. I think that one thing that Bud did well against Madrimov was controlling the distance. Madrimov was going against someone who had like a 4 or 5 or 6 inch reach advantage over him in that fight against Bud. And as we saw, he still managed to close the gap. But Bud definitely made him work for it. Having said that, I think Madrimov will be able to surpass Vergil's jabs and 1-2s, and he'll get in range and he'll be able to work and execute his game plan. But like I said, Vergil can definitely win this fight. I think that if his sloppiness was a one-off, if he can get his legs back in proper working order, if his power does come back, and if he tightens up his defense, I think he can get the job done. You know, and I think he can look good doing it. But if it's the version of Vergil that fought Bohachuk, I still think he can win, but I don't think he's going to win if that's the same Vergil that shows up. So in no way am I saying that Madrimov will dominate. No. This is a 50-50 fight that I'm just rolling with Madrimov on. You know what I mean? And that's why this is a fantastic fight, guys. Thumbs up to the matchmakers for this one. A cracking fight. And I think Madrimov will just about nick it. Alright, but that's all for me. I want to know what you guys think. Who do you guys think will win and how? Leave it down in the comments below. Please leave a like and subscribe. I want to thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope you guys have a lovely day. Thank you.